Hello and good morning, everyone. Today we are gonna explain the present simple, the present progressive, and the state of verbs. The present simple has many forms in the affirmative, in the negative, and in the interrogative sentence or statement. In the affirmative sentence, as we say, it has two forms, either the verb as go or goes. So we can use go with the plural nouns or the pronoun I, while the singular nouns he, she, or it is followed by the verb goes. And of course, we know the endings in each verb. As I say, that each verb ends in s with the singular noun, while there are certain verbs that ends in es. Verbs in es has an ending of ch, sh, ss, o, or x, while if I use a verb ending in y preceded by a consonant, so I must omit y and change it into ies. While the negative form, I can use don't or doesn't. Don't with the plural and I, while doesn't goes with the singular. And these two auxiliary verbs are always followed by the infinitive form of the verb. And of course, it has the same that goes in the interrogative, like do or does in the question. So if the main verb comes in the sentence and I want to ask a question or to negate the sentence, I must use an auxiliary verb. And this auxiliary verb could be either do or does, don't or doesn't. We use the present simple tense to talk about things that are generally true, like the sun sets in the west. This is a truth or a fact. And we use it also for routines and habits. For example, Emilia goes shopping on Saturday. And for permanent states, for example, William is a great grandfather. The word permanent here, permanent state, permanent is an adjective that describes that something is always happens. And we can use also the present simple to refer to the future. If I'm talking about timetable actions or schedule, like the coach to Sharm el-Sheikh leaves at 10 a.m. on Friday. The time expression for this tense is every day, every month, and so on. Once or twice a week, twice a day, at the weekend, in January, in the morning, at noon, on Tuesdays, and so on. While the adverbs of frequency are always, usually, often, sometimes, rarely, hardly, ever, seldom, and never. And these adverbs of frequency are often used with the present simple tense, and they tell us how often something happens, and they have a position in the sentence. They have a location, okay? They must come before the main verb, but if I use the verb to be, am, or is, or are, it must follows verb to be. So I can say he sometimes goes, while I can't say he sometimes is. Instead, I use he is sometimes. Okay, like the examples here. I sometimes go to the theater. My grandparents seldom eat out. Amanda is often late for work. Concerning the present progressive tense, of course, we know the form of the present continuous tense. In the affirmative, am or is or are followed by the ing, while in the negative, we use not after verb to be. And in the interrogative, the auxiliary or the helping verb is also verb to be. The changes that happen in the ing for verbs, if the verb ends in e, I omit the e and then add ing. If the verbs ends in double e, so I add ing. While if the verb ends in I add ing. If the verbs ends in y, I add also ing. While if the verb ends in a vowel followed by a consonant, I will double the consonant and then add ing. If I if the verb ends in ie, I omit the ie and change it into y, and then add the ing. And we often use the present continuous to talk about actions that are in progress at the time of speaking. For example, I'm reading a book about psychology at the moment. If I say I read a book about psychology, that means that's my habit, my routine. This is a fact. This is a permanent state. While if I say I'm reading a book about psychology at the moment, this is an action happening now. And I can use also the present progressive to talk about actions that are in progress at around the time of speaking, not just at the time of speaking. Like he is looking for a more challenging job. Or situations that are temporary. For example, we are traveling around Mexico for a week. And I can use it also to describe what is happening in a picture. Like some children are running around in the playground, and I can use it also for plans and arrangements for the future. Like we are moving to a bigger house next month. And of course, for situations that are changing or developing. Like now that is August, it's getting hotter. Time expression used to express the present progressive tense is at the moment, now, for the time being, nowadays, this, because it's a neutral word, today, tonight, and next. Stative verbs, stative verbs are verbs that are only used in simple tenses. So I can use it in the simple present tense, the past simple tense, or the future simple tense. And we can't use it in the progressive tenses or the continuous tenses. So I can say, I am knowing. That's wrong. Because the verb know is a state of verb or describe a state, but it is not describing an action. These are called state verbs or non-action verbs. And of course, we can ask ourselves about why do I use having and it's in ing? Because having has another meaning. If I say I am having a shower, that means I'm taking a shower. So the verb having here is an action verb, or in other words, a dynamic verb, because it describes an action. Stative verbs are verbs connected with thinking, perception, and opinions. Like she doesn't know what to do. I can't say she isn't knowing what to do. And verbs in this group include believe, know, doubt, guess, imagine, mean, remember, think, agree, recognize. Other stative verbs are connected with feelings and emotions. For example, I can say, I like this song, but it's totally wrong to say I'm liking this song because it's a verb that describes a state or an emotion. Verbs in this group may include love, like, dislike, hate, prefer, detest, want, wish, hate. And it's also verbs describing position, like have, own, possess, belong. And verbs also describing senses, like see, hear, taste, smell, feel. I may say it smells of smoke in here. So smells here is a stative verb, a non-action verb. But there are some verbs that are used as stative verbs and dynamic verbs. If we consider verb to be, if I say Mrs. Myveen is a teacher, Miss Myveen is a teacher. While if I say Mrs. Myveen is Miss Myveen is being a teacher, so being here is a dynamic verb, which means that she is acting to be a teacher. Okay, and verb have. If I say I have a car, so this is mine, this is my car. But if I say I'm having a shower, that means I'm taking shower. So the verb having here is an action verb, so it can come in the progressive tense. The verb see has three meanings. See could be understand. It could be also have the ability to see, or it could be meet. So, which verb of these is a dynamic verb or an action verb? Of course, meet. So, if I say, I see what you mean, that is a stative verb, mean, which means understand. I see her now, that means I have the ability to see. So, we are talking about stative verb. But if I say I'm seeing Mr. Rifat tonight, so that means that I'm meeting Mr. Rifat tonight. So this would be an action verb. The verb taste also, or the verbs that are connected with senses, could be used as stative verbs or dynamic verbs. Like this soup tastes great. So tastes here is describing state. So it must come in the simple tense. While if I say Jan is tasting the soup, so tasting here is an action verb. He is trying to taste the soup. So it can be in the progressive tense. The verb think has two meanings, either believe or consider. I think that coffee is great. So that means I believe, or that's my opinion. So it's a verb of perception or thinking. So it's a state of verb. It must come in the simple tense. While if I say I am thinking of buying a new mobile, so this is a dynamic verb, which means I'm considering. Now we are gonna choose the best alternative. Number one, to go out tonight. Although the question here has tonight, but the verb is a stative verb, so I can say are you wanting, but do you want? Number two, you free on Saturday evening. Are you free? Number three, the plane at 11:45. This is a timetable action, so it comes in the simple present. The plane leaves. Number four, does she some ice? Does she want? Number five, he always sings while he is having a bath. Number six, Tom and Betty have measles. Measles is a disease that affects your skin. Do Tom and Betty have measles? Number seven, his sister plays tennis on Wednesday. Number eight, he to the theater tonight is going because it's a plan or an arrangement in the future. Number nine, Peter his hair now. Now is a temporary action, so Peter is washing. While the second sentence, he eat every day. So this is a permanent action. So this would be washes. So the answer is A. They Number 10, they like slow music. They like fast music. They don't like fast music. Number 11, I a fever, but I have a sore throat. I have a fever, but I don't have sore throat. Number 12, the man at work is the man at work. Number 13, oh, someone in my seat is sitting because it's temporary action. Number 14, today, no, she is on leave. So I'm talking about a temporary action that happens for a time like today. Is Suzanne working? Number 15, Mrs. Ann to the bus. I'll tell her that you phoned. Is talking. Number 16, I think you are wrong. I with you. Of course, don't agree because it's a state of verb. So I must use it in the simple tense. His sister to go to the zoo with us now. Doesn't want. When Muhammad talks, everybody listens. Two wrongs make a right. Of course, don't. I for a shirt like this, but in a different size. I'm looking. Do as shown in brackets. Number one, it's her habit to get up early, even on holidays. She always gets up early, even on holidays. Number two, look, you have made the same mistake again. It could be answered, this sentence could be answered in two different sentences. I can say you always make the same mistake, or you are always making the same mistake. I can use always in the progressive tense to show anger or to show that I'm angry. Number three, it's usual for the weather to change. I would start with the weather. The weather usually changes. He thinks that he will get a high score. He is thinking of getting a new car. Tell the difference. The first sentence is talking about state verb, which means believe. So he believes. While the second sentence, he is thinking of getting a new car, I mean that he is considering now. He is making plan. Okay, so it's an action verb. So it, I may use it in the progressive tense. Suzanne never does the shopping on her own. Suzanne doesn't do the shopping on her own. Tom and Patty have nieces. I want to negate the sentence. So Tom and Patty don't have nieces. This cake is tasting delicious. Correct the statement. This cake tastes delicious. Number eight, she hasn't finished doing the washing up yet. I want to use still. Still comes in the progressive tense. She is still doing the washing up. Number nine, they do everything as planned. Ask a question. How do they do everything? Number 11, we travel to Paris every 6 months. At the moment, we are traveling to Paris at the moment. Spot the mistake. This question will be homework. Thank you guys. See you next session.